Welcome to episode 8 of John Eats Keto. This week's recipe is coming to you from Peace, Love, and Low-Carb. It's Keto Chili Dog Casserole. It's one of my favorites. The recipe has a chili base with hot dogs and a keto biscuit topping. So I've been trying to include my family in the videos since the beginning, but it gets a little hard when I'm trying to produce the videos. But this week I was lucky enough to finally include my youngest son, because my youngest son has been interested in cooking. So I decided that I was going to include him in this week's keto recipe. Hopefully in the future I can continue to include my other family members. Although they're not keto like I am, they still enjoy most of the keto recipes. So let's check out this week's recipe. To begin with the chili base, I'm going to begin to dice half an onion. I feel like one whole onion overpowers a chili. So here I'm just going to dice real quickly small pieces of half an onion. Now here I'm going to get a pot ready for the chili, and we're going to saute the onion. And unfortunately I didn't have the fresh garlic, but if you do, you can cut up some fresh garlic and add it a little bit after you get the onions really soft. And that's what we're going for, a translucent onion. It's semi-soft. And then right towards the end, you want to add the garlic, because if you add the garlic at the same time as the onion, then it's going to burn. I used avocado oil, but you can use butter or coconut oil. And then I find it to be better to do the onions and the garlic before you start to cook the meat, because the onions, for me, just become really soggy when you cook it with the browning of the meat. So you're going to brown the meat until all of it is no longer pink, and that's going to be done with the onions and the garlic if you were able to include it. I used the 80-20 ground beef, and as you can see, there is some fat, and I'm going to push away my meat and drain about half to 3/4 of the fat. After I drain that, I'm going to let it sit for a moment, and you can have this all prepared. Of course, I'm doing it as I cook, and I'm going to dice 2 big celery stalks. The celery is going to add a nice crunch, and it absorbs a lot of the flavor. So I just cut them into 3 strips, and then I just dice them finely. I put those into the pot. You can also saute the celery before with the onions and the garlic if you'd like. And I'm not a good measurer with a cup measure or some spoons. I like to measure my seasonings out by eyeball, and I'm just showing you all the spices and the ingredients that need to go into them. So we had garlic powder, pepper, this is tomato paste. I'm going to add some tomatoes. You can have diced tomatoes, it's probably easier, but I had whole tomatoes, so I decided to use them. Coconut aminos or Worcestershire sauce will be good for adding into the chili. Chili powder, you're going to want to add about 4 tablespoons or more to make the chili. Ground cumin, that's going to go in, and you're going to use a good amount of that. This is onion powder. You're going to add about a tablespoon of that. Oregano, about a tablespoon also. And a bay leaf, just 1. And you're just going to let it sit and let it release its flavor while this simmers, because we're going to simmer the chili for about an hour on low. Alternatively, you could let it sit in a crock pot for about 8 hours on low. Hi, this is Max. Max, say hi.
Hi.
Max is going to help me cook because he wants to learn how to cook. So now we're going to start making the keto biscuits with the assistance of Max. Max is helping me put in 4 ounces of cream cheese, and he's learning how to crack an egg. So we're going to add 1 egg to the cream cheese, and we're going to use our hand mixer to blend those together. We're blending the cream cheese and the egg until it's really smooth. So we just did it on really low, and it should look, like a blended cream. Then we're going to add some garlic powder. It's about a teaspoon. You can use fresh chives. Didn't have fresh chives, so I just used my freeze-dried chives. About a tablespoon. We used some Italian seasoning. Another tablespoon. And a little dance from Max. A couple of pinches of salt. I would say it was about another half a tablespoon. And we're going to blend that all together with the hand mixer. Now Max is learning how to measure out 1.5 cups of almond flour. He's scooping it out with the measuring cup and then leveling it. After the 1.5 cups is measured, we're going to blend it all together with the shredded white cheddar that we're measuring out. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of water. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And again, you can use your hand mixer to blend it, but I chose to use a spatula and just fold it in to itself. Once it's all mixed together, just set it aside because we're going to use this to top it on top of the chili and hot dogs. So we added a tablespoon of butter to a pan, and we're going to go ahead and fry up the hot dogs with a nice little sear. Not to cook them too long. You can pre-cut them and cook them, or you can cut them after they're done. Max is learning how to move the butter around in the pan, and then he's just going to lay the hot dogs into the pan. After placing all the hot dogs into the pan, Max's job is to watch the hot dogs and sear all of the sides. So you got to watch them closely and make sure you don't burn them. And sear all sides of the hot dogs until they are done. I did not pre-cut them before we put them in the pan, so just going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. And with a little assistance, I'm going to have Max help me cut the last of the hot dogs. Once the hot dogs are cut, we're just going to add them to the chili so that they can all simmer together, so all the flavors can marinate with each other. Max is just going to give the chili a nice little stir to get all the hot dogs and meat and flavors mixed together. And we're just going to leave this on low. If you have more time, you can do more than an hour. But it was almost dinner time for us. So we added shredded mozzarella and layered it with some shredded cheddar. And previously, before this, we turned on the oven to 350 because we're going to go ahead and place this whole pot into the oven. And then we dollop the keto biscuits on top. I had better results when I used a casserole dish to dollop it, but I decided to use the pot so I didn't have more dishes. And then we just let this bake until the top is kind of golden and they make a biscuit-like texture. And there you have it. That's going to be our keto chili dog casserole. How is it, little chef?
Good.
Did you do a good job? Nah, I'm just kidding. Thanks, guys, for watching another episode of John Eats Keto. I really do appreciate you guys watching, especially if you made it this far. I'm really excited to have introduced you to 1/5 of my family. I'm really excited to introduce you to more of who I am. And if you didn't know, I also have twin boys and my lovely wife, who I love very much. Now, I hope to continue to bring you value in videos every week. I just need to learn a little bit more about how to schedule. All three of my boys, they play soccer. I'm also a coach for the older boys, so that's why this video is a little late. I've kind of lost where I can fit in and making the videos, but I promise you I will continue to make them. Hopefully they will still be on a regular schedule. If you do enjoy this video, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share, and leave some comments. Let me know what you think, or let me know what I can possibly help you with, because that's what I'm here for. And as always, thank you very much. And I look forward to sharing more with you next week.